I always had a view that with the reconstruction of Turcot, it's an occasion to really review what the urban transport problems were in that area or generally in Montreal, and see if there's other ways of dealing with the situation, especially if they're talking about demolishing or replacing segments of highways, which they claim is. There's 2 points in their manifeste de justification, in their justification manual, saying that the reason why they're replacing Turcot is, one, is they want to replace all the structures built rapidly for Expo 67, and secondly is they want to correct a few danger spots or make it more secure.
Yeah, it's in the 60s and the 70s with the mayor Jean Drapeau. It was horrible. It's like tens of thousands of apartments that have been destroyed for all those highway. And we've been, the POPIR have been really active in a coalition that's called Mobilisation Turcot. Our demands were basically like to make a different project that will include more transport en commun, like collective transports, and so less cars, because it's really too much and too many. The pollution and the health, public health, are really affected by the highway.
This is a bad project for the people around it. It's a bad project for the economy of Montreal. It's a project that's rooted in a old-fashioned vision of transportation in a metropolitan area. I think the government has it wrong all the way in this project. Unfortunately, after 2, I would say even 3 years of discussion and of mobilization, demonstration, and all that, they don't seem to want to change anything in that project.
What is the problem with Turcot? It's falling apart. Okay, fine, that has to be replaced. And the discussion, what's the problem with Ville-Marie? Well, it's falling apart as well. I said, yes, is it really? Because the whole question is how much is falling apart? How come it's only in Westmount that it's falling apart and not in Saint-Henri or in Montreal? And the reason is quite obvious. It's political, you know. I mean, they've had a class action suit against Ministry of Transport back in 2000 because maintaining an elevated expressway is too noisy, and that's why they want to replace it. Because maintaining an elevated expressway is just too noisy for the calm residents of Westmount, whereas for everybody else in the city of Montreal, it doesn't matter.
It's like we have the feeling we're going like 25 years back, you know, and we'll have to support of course, nobody is saying that there's no, that the autoroute has to be built somewhere else, but I think we would have liked to see the improvement of the reduction of the impact of this kind of infrastructure on the area as an objective, an essential objective in the project from the start.
When Drapeau came into power, he said, look, to minimize the demolition, because at the time a highway had to go through, I mean, everybody decided the highway had to go through, but to minimize the demolition, we're going to put it up against the escarpment between Turcot Yards to Guy Street, where there's already a natural along the rail line. And he says, well, that'll minimize, okay, yes, there's 845 houses have to be demolished, but that's less than if we went further south. But today, you know, I mean, we realized, like we realized in Toronto, that urban highways just don't fit anymore. Jane Jacobs and the Spadina Expressway, Jane Jacobs and all the expressway network in downtown Montreal, in downtown Toronto, I'm sorry. They had the 400 coming downtown, an east-west highway between the Gardiner and the 401. And the thing was, I said, no, that's it, no more highways. And in Montreal, we said, we stopped highways, we prevented the Highway 19 from going through Montreal.
From the start, what we've been told is the objective of the project is to maintain the flow of traffic, you know. and make sure that nothing is going to be disturbed, you know, but unfortunately this project will just worsen the situation for most people in around it.
If you have to replace a structure in an urban setting, well, do it like every other structure that you replace everywhere else. So, of course, they don't want to listen. They all know better. We've got to expropriate. We've got to expropriate and build a new highway beside the existing. Therefore, expropriate the 780, expropriate les tanneries, which they still believe they don't have to, but I've done research with structural engineers to say that they will have to. And so basically, the whole approach of building a highway, which was a failure to start with in 1970, it was heavily contested, and it was said that it's not what Montreal needs. It doesn't need an urban highway within its inner city. And it creates a lot of demolition, it creates a lot of anguish, a lot of people suffered, a lot of people were kicked out in the street, a lot of communities were basically destroyed. And I said, look, that's fine, but don't continue that now. It's not the time to continue destroying communities because you made a mistake on a highway, etc., etc. Restez chez vous. If you've got a problem, like any building in Montreal, if a landlord doesn't take care of its building, doesn't give him the right to expropriate his neighbors to rebuild his building. So it's the same with anything in Montreal.
We were opposed, of course, to the expropriation and the apartments that were to be destroyed. It's not the same amount. We're not talking about thousands like it was in the 60s or in the 70s, but still at first it was 166 apartments that were supposed to be destroyed for the highway, the Turcot. And it's been lowered to around 106, so we save 60 apartments, which it's a start, but it's not enough. We're still demanding that there will be no expropriation, and it's possible because there've been engineers that have worked on different alternative to the Turcot interchange, and it's possible to make it autrement in another way.